The moment the detective slid the police report across the metal table and said, "This is the report that started everything," my stomach dropped, because the name typed at the top of the page was mine, and I had never written it. I didn't mean figuratively, not someone with my name, not a similar spelling. It was my full legal name, my correct date of birth, and an address I had lived at 3 years before the report was filed. And according to the timestamp, I'd walked into a police station and reported a violent crime on a night I could prove I wasn't even in the state. I remember laughing at first, that dry, nervous laugh people do when something feels too stupid to be real. I told the detective there had to be a mistake, a clerical error, identity theft maybe. He didn't laugh back. He just said, "That's what we thought too, until we checked the security footage." That's when the room went quiet. I need to rewind because this didn't start with a police report. It started with a letter I wasn't supposed to receive. About 6 months ago, I got a plain white envelope in the mail, no return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper with a case number printed at the top and a sentence underneath. "Your statement is required to close the investigation." I assumed it was junk mail or a scam, until I noticed the seal at the bottom. City Police, real department, real number. When I called, the woman on the phone paused after I gave her the case number. I could hear typing. Then she said, "Sir, this case was closed 2 years ago." I asked why they were contacting me now. Another pause, longer this time. "Because," she said carefully, "you were the reporting witness." I told her she had the wrong person. She said, "No, we don't." She scheduled an appointment for the following week. I almost canceled it a dozen times, but curiosity, or maybe something worse, got the better of me. The station was old, the kind of building that smells like paper and disinfectant and time. The detective who met me didn't introduce himself right away. He just studied my face like he was comparing it to a photograph in his head. "Sit," he said. That's when he showed me the report. Filed at 11:43 p.m., reported assault behind a closed grocery store. Victim unidentified, male, hospitalized, survived. Reporting party, me. The statement was detailed, too detailed. It described the attacker's clothing, the sound of footsteps, the exact position of the victim's body. It even included a quote attributed to me. He kept saying he didn't know why it was happening. I felt sick reading that, because it wasn't just descriptive, it sounded like something I would say. I told the detective I had receipts, plane tickets, photos, bank transactions. I'd been in another state that night, visiting my sister. Dozens of people could verify it. He nodded. "We know." Then he opened a laptop and turned it toward me. Security footage from the station lobby, grainy, black and white. Timestamp matched the report exactly. The man who walked through the front doors was wearing a hoodie, head down, hands in his pockets. He stopped at the desk. He looked up, and he had my face. Not similar, not close, identical. Same crooked eyebrow, same scar on the chin I got when I was 12, same tired expression I see in the mirror every morning. I couldn't speak. My ears started ringing so loud I thought I might pass out. I asked the detective the only question that made sense. "That's fake, right?" He shook his head. "No digital tampering, no edits, and before you ask, fingerprints were taken." He slid another page across the table. "Fingerprint match confirmed. DNA swab from the coffee cup the man used at the station. Match 100%. That's when I noticed something small but terrifying. The DNA report was dated 6 months before I ever gave a sample in my life. I don't remember leaving the station. I remember sitting in my car afterward, hands locked on the steering wheel, trying to convince myself I was dreaming, that I'd wake up, that grief or stress or something had finally cracked my brain. But the proof followed me home. That night, I checked my email. Buried in my spam folder was a confirmation message from the city's online reporting portal. Subject line, "Thank you for your statement. Sent 2 years ago from my email address." I changed every password I had: email, banking, cloud storage, everything. The next morning, I found a folder on my desktop that I didn't create. It was labeled Statement Drafts. Inside were audio files, voice recordings, my voice, describing the crime in slightly different ways, practicing details, correcting phrasing. One file ended with me muttering, "No, that sounds wrong. They won't believe that part." I threw my laptop shut like it had burned me. That's when the memory hit me. Not clearly, not like a flashback, more like a pressure behind my eyes, a sense of standing somewhere cold, a smell like rotting produce, someone breathing nearby. I hadn't remembered it before because it wasn't stored like a memory. It felt inserted. I went back to the station the next day, demanded answers. The detective looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept. He told me they'd quietly reopened the case months ago, not because of me, but because the victim had disappeared. Not gone missing, erased. No hospital records, no discharge papers, no identity. Every trace of him had vanished, except the original report and my statement. They tried to track surveillance footage from nearby buildings. Half the cameras malfunctioned that night. The rest showed something worse. In one clip, you can see the victim stumbling into frame, and behind him, walking calmly, hands in his pockets, is me. But the way I move in the footage is wrong. Too smooth, too deliberate, like someone wearing my body instead of living in it. Here's where I want you to pause for a second. If this were you, if you were shown proof that you committed a crime you can't remember, in a place you swear you never were, would you assume you were sick? Or would you start wondering what else might be able to wear your face? I didn't sleep after that. 3 nights later, I woke up to a notification on my phone. Location services activated. I hadn't touched my phone. The GPS pin was blinking in an alley 5 blocks from my apartment. Same alley from the report. I walked there at sunrise. Behind the grocery store, the pavement was cracked exactly like the photos in the file. Same stains, same dent in the metal door where someone had been slammed into it. That's when I saw it scratched into the brick wall. My handwriting. Not a message, just a reminder. I told them. I don't know who them is. The detective stopped returning my calls after that. 2 weeks later, I checked the case status online. It now reads, "Reporting party unidentified." My name is gone. The footage is gone. The fingerprints are gone. It's like the system decided I was never there. Except the drafts are still on my computer. And sometimes, late at night, I find new ones, new recordings, new details, always dated in the future. I don't think the report was fake. I think something used me because it needed a witness, and I think it's done with me now. If you have a theory, if you think you know what really filed that report, tell me in the comments. Like the video if this case messed with your head. Subscribe for more shadow case files, because somewhere out there, a police report exists with your name on it, and you just haven't been shown it yet.